Good afternoon, y'all. Can everyone hear me okay in the back? Yeah? We all good? Okay, we're not going to be using mics because we really want to keep this like a conversation. You know, we're going to have a conversation about conversational AI. So first off, I want to thank everyone for your time and your presence. I want to thank Kore for hosting us in the beautiful Sunshine State. You know, our session is going to be a gateway for any industry to explore omnichannel and multilingual solutions, fueled with our deep domain knowledge and how that can propel innovation in your business. Feel free at any point to ask questions, and we'll do our best to answer them. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Rithvik. My role at Elevondata is in AI sales, and as a solution architect, my educational background is electrical and computer engineering, and I'm based in Austin, Texas. This is Montej.
Hello.
Montej is our AI solutions and delivery lead. His educational background is in mechatronics, as well as a master's in machine learning and AI. Montej is based out of New Delhi, India.
Right. Long flight.
Yeah, so at Elevon, our mission is very clear. We want to leverage our agility, our deep domain knowledge, and technical expertise to streamline and digitally transform processes within emerging technologies specifically. We're in our 11th year of operation, and we're headquartered in New York City, and we're hyper-focused on cloud and AI-first solutions. Our team is obsessive and passionate about pushing boundaries in technology, specifically within AI. We have a very diverse team of folks in AI research, software dev, and biz ops and strategy, working all together to create a comprehensive solution, industry agnostic solutions, tailored to our clients' needs. I'm going to let Montej tell you a little bit more about our history with artificial intelligence specifically.
Yeah, so Rithvik just mentioned, I'm audible, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So Rithvik just mentioned that Elevon is an AI first company. So I want to put emphasis on that. Since our inception, we have really taken up on some innovative and groundbreaking projects. We have made some strides in AI, from our conversational AI with Kore as implementation partners, to our own predictive maintenance models, and to our flagship product, Digitalize, which is an insurance inspection platform, and where we have our own state-of-art object detection models who do risk inspections and for your property and auto insurances primarily right now, and they basically make the life of an underwriter easier, right? They prioritize the inspections and make the underwriting and your claim process much more efficient. So it'll be just right to say that Elevon is AI first company, right? And there has been a lot of talk about AI for the past couple of 2 days now, right? We have heard a lot about AI, we have heard about Gen AI, and we really need to understand the evolution of AI to understand where we are right now and where we want to go from here. So it could go back to the 1950s from Turing tests and the Dartmouth conference that happened to the neural networks, deep learning we've been working on, conversational AIs right now. But AI needs to be smart. It needs to be consistent, it needs to be versatile, and it needs to be scalable, right? And that's where the Gen AI is coming up. That's where we need the AI to understand the pain points of the user. It needs to create generative responses at that moment, understand the previous conversations, and be on all channels, be multilingual. And that is what this presentation is about, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, you know, in today's globalized world, businesses are increasingly operating across multiple channels, multiple countries, you know, across the globe, and serving very diverse customer bases.
Right.
So the multi-channel and multilingual AI solutions are essential, and we need to ensure seamless communication and consistent experiences across all of the touch points. You know, it could be any platform, any language. You know, platform-wise, web, voice, SMS, email. You know, and by embracing this, you know, businesses can effectively engage with customers, secure your brand loyalty, and gain a competitive edge.
So that is what we have done in Elevon. We are the implementation partners for Kore. We went through all the channels. We went through web. We went through voice, which is both inbound and outbound calls. And then we went through the email configurations. We went through your your Slacks and all configurations that we have done, we have went through all channels, right? So the first one that we have is an account on the web bot, right? Ritik, can talk about that?
Yeah. So let's jump into it. Our first use case we want to showcase was built for THK. They're a multi-billion-dollar global company headquartered in Tokyo. We're extremely fortunate and grateful to have our client here with us today. And we'd like to invite our special guest, Elizabeth, up. She's a software engineer at THK America, and she's going to present a few slides to tell you how much she loves Elevon and how the core implementation went.
Hey everyone. As Vic just said, my name is Elizabeth. I'm a software engineer at THK America. We are the North American subsidiary of THK, which is a manufacturing company. Primarily, we manufacture linear motion devices. So these are devices that are used in larger machines to turn what is a rotary motion, like from ball bearings spinning around, into a sliding back and forth motion. This is advantageous for mechanical reasons, it's advantageous for repair reasons, and our company was one of the first to figure out how to do this. I bring this up to sort of give an example of the industry that we're in, and so you can understand why our use case was a little difficult for us to execute on our own. As you can imagine, we mostly manufacture these sub-machine parts. We do it to high precision, high quality, high degree of customization. Our product range has expanded over time. We've added, for example, seismic isolators, which are tables that go under servers or historical artifacts to protect it from damage from earthquakes. So the plate is the thing that shakes, not whatever is important on top of it. We've also added pieces to go inside of electric cars, so like the sliding back and forth seat motion, we've made some of those to attach onto the seat bottoms. We've added some components to go inside wheel wells to help with the wheel-powered, the motor in the wheel being sat in the wheel instead of just the axle turning. So heavy manufacturing, heavy physical product. Last year, we were introduced to a new product type that THK has to offer. This is an Internet of Things product, an IoT product. Not sure how many of you are familiar. We know what IoT is? Cool. Excellent. I won't go into depth in explaining it then. But the idea behind the system is that you get the sensors from us, as well as the AI to understand the output of those sensors. And you attach them to either parts that we've made, like our linear motion guides, our other parts like ball screws that work inside of manufacturing plants. You monitor them, you send them back to our proprietary AI to compile that data and say, hey, you need to plan to replace this part in 6 months. Maybe you should order it a few months from now. Would you like a reminder for that? Or hey, this part broke, you should investigate this. This is a very different product than what we've built before. And so both our customers and us as staff need some assistance in sort of understanding this product so that we can make sure that it is used and sold to maximize benefit for customers, right? And so this product is called OmniEdge. The rollout in Japan has already happened. It's been very successful, but it's coming to a North America release. And so we decided to develop an AI specifically to answer questions about this product. These are mostly engineering questions. So what sorts of temperatures can this system operate at? What kinds of thresholds should we be expecting for warning versus failure versus these sorts of things? Questions that, are common, yes, but that, are likely, that are not necessarily ones that you would want to scroll through a long page to find. And so we developed an AI named Grace, as you can see. This is primarily built out through Kore. We use the XO platform, of course, as our base. We added onto it Search Assist so that it could handle our product manuals, so that it could handle our website if there are more contextual questions needed around the history of OmniEdge, because that's not included in our frequently asked questions. We also added on a Smart Assist for voice control and voice interactivity. Other things that we have included in this bot, we have our primary list of FAQs is from THK Japan. This is our parent company. Like I said, they've been using this product for several years already, so they know roughly what people are going to ask, at least in Japan. So that was our starting point. We're also ingesting our website and our user manuals, as I said. On top of this, we've also added limited LLM capacity, primarily in training. We've used multiple different models, as you can see. We lean particularly heavy on Claude, at least for the initial training purposes. And we're mostly using it when it hits production. We will mostly be using it to analyze our user manuals and websites and do the RAG configuration through there. So we originally had a very tight turnaround for this product. We had about 6 to 8 weeks from when we first decided, yes, we're going to go with Kore as our provider for our AI, to when we needed to have it launched. So I am a team of primarily one. I do most of the development for THK myself. My boss has helped significantly. As we will get to, this is a multi-language model. So he helped me build one of the other languages out. But for English, for THK, it was mostly going to be me. I did not have the capacity to put this together in 6 to 8 weeks. And so we reached out to Kore and then to Elevon for assistance with this project. We worked in scheduled weekly meetings, sometimes multiple times a week, particularly at the beginning when we were billing out the training utterances, the batches that we would send in to train the device to make sure that it would understand different phrasings of the same questions. We also did a fair amount of asynchronous development, both with a team in India and with individuals actually in the Chicago area near where we were based. Altogether, we put together about 2,000 different, more than 2,000 test phrases across 3 different languages, English being the primary build language. We also had Japanese built out completely separately as a distinct language, not as a machine translation. And we also built out Spanish similarly, completely distinct from there's no internal translation happening. We did this partly because our parent company is Japanese. We have Japanese customers. We have manuals in Japanese. We must support that. But we're in the United States. We have customers all over the United States. We have customers in Mexico. We need to be able to communicate in Spanish if possible. But we didn't want to risk machine translation, things getting lost in there because of the technical nature of this product. We did integrations primarily with website. There will be a little icon in the corner there. If you want assistance, you can click on it and the bot will pop up and say, hi, how can I help you? I can answer questions about this. We also have an email plugged into the bot if a question is outside of scope, for example, or if we need more information about their exact use case before we can provide them an answer. Then we would say, hey, let us help you draft an email. I can't answer that, unfortunately. Could you give me more information? And we also have some tie-ins for voice. That's not live right now, but we have set that up for future use. In terms of difficulties that we encountered, the biggest one on THK's side was a lack of product knowledge. This is new to THK America. THK Japan knows what they're doing. They've done this for several years. Elevon helped fill in some of those gaps because on the THK America side, we had not done as much work into IoT. We had not done the understanding of how all the components fit together. We didn't have the proprietary AI that Japan had built out, so we didn't completely understand what we were working with. Elevon, as mentioned, they had expertise in mechatronics, in AI, in these things. Their knowledge helped us put things together in a way that helped understand not only how to do the development, but also the product we were developing for. The second issue that we overcame was language ambiguity. This is inherent to all languages, but particularly if you're taking ones as distinct as Japanese and English. An easy example I can give is that there was one question where the Japanese sentence essentially translated to, what equipment can we put the sensor on? It was professionally translated by people in Japan, but they were not native English speakers. And so when it came to us, it said, what facilities are suitable for installation, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And if you're asking about, what kind of manufacturing facilities, maybe. But the answer was related to what kinds of products can we install it on. So going back through, we realized, the word for facility and equipment in this case is the same. And so we needed to go through, parse all of that, and work that through. There weren't a lot of these, but when they came up, they were very significant. And so having Elevon there to help back us up, help us sort through these, figure out what made sense and what didn't based on their knowledge of IoT was very helpful. The last issue that we overcame was related to overlapping questions and answers. OmniEdge is made up of 3 different product lines. There's one for our linear motion back and forth devices. There's one for our rotary devices, so like things that go inside of MRI machines, for example, to move the magnets. We also have one to monitor tools, so cutting planes, those sorts of things. Some of these product lines, you're going to have the same questions about. You're going to ask, where can I run these systems? It doesn't matter what tools you're putting it on. But your answers might be different. And so what we had originally done was just dropped it all into the knowledge AI and just said, figure it out. We assumed there was one answer to one question, and it turned out there was not. And so Elevon helped us figure out the solution to that, which was to break the questions where there was more than one product into its own dialogue tree, where we could then ask the customer a clarifying question if they hadn't already provided the context about what product they were talking about, and we could route them to the correct answer based on that. So they were critical in helping us find a solution to that problem. In terms of our project results, our original goal for accuracy was 95%. For those of you who are AI people like myself, that's about industry standard. We ended up in training with an accuracy of 99%. We are getting some of the results back from testing as we speak, and it has come back with very few problems, even in the languages that we could not manually approve during training due to lack of native speakers. Spanish is the particular example I'm thinking of. The original goal was to have this be an extensible thing. Our initial use case is very narrow, mostly frequently asked questions, occasional human redirection where necessary. We wanted to be able to expand this over time. So initially we were just going to have it accessible as a web icon, but we found we need to add email, and so we added email. And we found that, maybe we need to include our user manuals. We need to be able to ingest those and put those answers back out. And so we added Search Assist. And the turnaround from both of those was not very long, within a handful of days, to get those up and running. We also, like I mentioned, we have a voice tie-in. It is not currently being utilized, but it is there, and I expect that a setup time for that will be similarly short when we decide to implement it. Multilingual, one of the focuses of this session. English was the default language. It's what people speak here in the US primarily. That's what I'm natively fluent in. So that's where we started. We knew that was going to be a requirement. We knew Japanese was going to be a requirement. Parent company is Japanese. We have documents in Japanese. But because of Elevon's assistance, we were able to build out Spanish as well. We do not have any IT people who are native Spanish speakers who were available to help with this project. I do not think we would have been as successful in Spanish as we have been without their assistance. Security. As you may have figured out by now, this bot is not live yet. There have been several things that have come up, not related to the bot itself, that have delayed the launching of the web page it is tied into. But so far, in all of our testing and all of our QA, we have had no issues with data leakage or getting to the wrong people, information that we don't want shared being ingested. We've had no issues with hallucinations at the time of working with Elevon. There was one exception that came in later, but I think that was just me messing with a setting that caused it. So I'm not going to put the blame on that for them. And in terms of timeliness, like I mentioned, our initial turnaround was very, very tight. It was 6 to 8 weeks. And we met it, I think, in 9, even with adding on the Search Assist, adding on the email. And so I think that was the sign of a very successful project. I'll have to keep you updated in terms of how it performs in the field, but as of right now, I am very happy with our end product.
Thank you. It was a very tight schedule, as Elizabeth said, right? But the point being multilingual, it was a product-specific multilingual. So you could have a question where you're talking about a specific product and it'll act differently in United States to Japan. So simple example, you have 3 face and single face in different countries, right? So that's where what Elizabeth just mentioned, the expertise came in, we identified and we built those utterances. So the 2,000 utterances that were built, it was not just LLM popping up random questions. It was properly sitting down, understanding the science behind it, and building out those utterances accordingly. And thank you so much for that description, Elizabeth. Thanks.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
And a quick shout out to Kato-san in the audience as well from THK attending. Thank you.
So just a very quick overlook. This was what Elizabeth was talking about. You have your 3 different types of overlapping FAQs, and you have your multilingual, where you're selecting the languages as you go. Moving on.
Yeah. So we just showcased multilingual web chatbot. Okay. So now we're going to go into our next use case, which is voice, specifically inbound dialing. And this is for a healthcare provider. The goal was to address tasks like authentication, ID card requests, listing coverages, dependents, as well as answering FAQs. So Elevon, again, we brought our expertise, our A game. We've handled several healthcare projects before, and so we have expertise not only in the compliance department, the regulatory conditions that surround any healthcare applications, as well as FHIR APIs specifically. To build out the IVR inbound system, we utilized Smart Assist and Agent Assist from Kore.ai.
Right.
And that allows for an agent transfer as well.
Right.
Did you want to?
So we're talking about inbound call now, right? We have done web. We're talking about how the voice is being handled. So here, this is an inbound call, and what you need to identify is that the bot needs to know what I need to do with the call right now. Is it a very generic question? Can I answer it straightforward? Or do we need to authenticate the user? What action I need to do? So it was all of that tasks that had to be handled real time on the call, right? And one thing that we actually faced a challenge here was we had a speech to text engine running to identify the inbound calls. And I don't know why, but it's racist. I'll give you that. It doesn't understand, the Indian accent, and it had a lot of trouble understanding me and the Indian team.
We're both speaking English. It understood me, but it sometimes.
So it was a challenge because people will be coming in from all different dialects, right? You're talking about a global world right now, and it will be people calling from everywhere. So we needed to ensure that we have a bot that can understand whatever you're saying. We had to put our post script, which will do all kinds of cleaning, and even then, if the authentication has some issue, it'll come back and do a confirmation note. So if you see out here, the name was as Bill, right? Where I come from, it's not a very common name, right? And so the bot also did not understand it. So it had to go back and spell that out, and that's what it did. And once it did that, it worked out perfectly fine. So that was one challenge that we had to overcome, right? So what the results and the benefits have been, Ritik? Can we talk about those?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we took a very collaborative approach to tackling this problem with the client. We work closely hand in hand because we have very, very complex tasks and queries to handle here, especially over voice. So the results speak for themselves. The healthcare provider now handles inbound calls seamlessly. We did a batch testing of over 1,000 utterances, and we yielded a testing score of 98%. And I really want to highlight the recall here. The recall is basically referring to lower false negatives, which is very key here.
That's right. So with that, also another point that I want to add is, when you're talking to a bot, you know what you need to ask. You have your simple questions coming in. But when you're talking on voice, a person can say any kind of description to a specific question, right? So that is something we need to take care about. And that's what we built. We created patterns, we did recognitions, we made utterances that understands exactly what the user is talking about. And this was inbound, but we are currently working on much more complicated and much more fun project that is outbound. So now we are doing an outbound calling, right?
Real quick before that, we're going to showcase a demo of the inbound call for y'all. So this is basically a voice demo of the inbound call from a patient to a provider.
Hello, I am your free RX virtual assistant, and I'm here to help answer any questions you might have. I can look up your coverages, provide information about your dependents, as well as your beneficiaries. What would you like me to do for you?
What is my insurance coverage right now?
He was excited.
For this request, I will have to authenticate you. Are you fine to answer a few questions?
Sure, yes I am.
Could you please provide me with your first and last name?
So this is the bot
My name is
authenticating
Jessica
user.
Abbott.
Can you please tell me your zip code?
35607.
Hi, Jessica, you have successfully been authenticated. Your active plans are Mech standalone, what would you like me to do for you?
Thanks, goodbye.
Okay, so let's talk about that use case that Monteja was alluding to, and that's essentially outbound dialing. So we just showed you inbound dialing, and so there's another healthcare implementation that we're working on for the outbound dialing. It's built for a medical practice who has a team of employees right now who are spending a large chunk of their day just doing phone calls, on the phone out to various insurance providers, trying to verify their patient information. This can be coverages, claims, etc. So we're facing completely new and complex challenges with this use case. So we've already seen, the B2C. Now we want to see B2B.
Right, that's right. So what you had was a client calling a bot, right? Now you have a total, bot talking to another bot, and that's completely new, all different kind of variations, new nuances for us. That could be the bot doing a small talk, the other bot picking it up as an interruption. And this is something which is very innovative. This is something we are working on right now, and we have actually been able to solve for one of the insurance providers, right? So can I have a quick outbound demo for that?
Yeah, and so just keep in mind, the business on the other end could be a bot or it could be a human. And so we're just going to give a quick voice demo of that. Welcome to the future.
Do for you.
FreeRx able to provide its services?
FreeRx has leveraged decades of relationships, partnerships, and buying power to provide unlimited prescription drug and virtual urgent care services at one low monthly cost. What would you like me to do for you?
List my dependents?
For this request, I will have to authenticate you. Are you fine to answer a few questions?
Yes.
Could you please provide me with your first and last name?
So this is the same bot we saw.
Derek
We're not talking to this
Vega.
bot, right? B2B.
And what's your date of birth?
The 26th of June, 1974.
Can you please tell me your 5-digit zip code?
57,894.
Hi Derek, you have been verified. The details for your dependents are Hannah Jeter. What would you like me to do for you?
List my coverages?
Your active plans are Free RX, Behavioral Health. What would you like me to do for you?
Thanks.
Okay. So
Right.
wasn't that impressive? Huh? So a real quick point I want to add. As businesses increasingly utilize, build, and start deploying conversational AI, we imagine that most interactions are actually going to begin as a bot-to-bot conversation. And then, maybe a human has to hop in if needed.
So we're just gearing up for the future. Now, this is something exciting. This is what we have built. This is completely omnichannel. This has your chat on the web, it has your email, it has a voice coming in, and then an integration to Freshdesk. Ritik?
Yeah. So we're just bringing it all together at this point. We showed you the web chat bot, inbound, outbound voice styling. So now we're going to show you the email channel, how we utilize that. So our client was a trading platform. They requested essentially an omni-channel solution. They had different support tiers. So that's support tier 1, support tier 2, 3. And specifically, tier 1 was being outsourced. And it was outsourced to a Singapore-based contact center company. And so we presented Agent Assist to them. However, they were very comfortable with Freshdesk and happy with that environment. And so they wanted to stay within that ecosystem. So we had to flesh out and build our own Gen AI solution.
Right, so as Ritik just mentioned, the tier 1 was outsourced. And they were making a lot of mistakes. So now, that is why they felt the need that now we need to go and have a Gen AI solution, right? So that's what we built up for them. I quickly want to take you through the flow that we actually have. So what Ritik just said was an omni-channel bot. You have a consumer from the left. You have the consumer going in, having your web chat coming through email or a voice inbound, right? the bot decides whether I can answer this or not. If it is a simple FAQ, if I can go to my knowledge base and I can answer it, then great. It answers back to the consumer, right? But if it is not able to answer it, it goes back and raises a ticket on Freshdesk. It informs the user that I raised a ticket for you, an agent is going to connect with you. Now, on the Freshdesk, what you have is all sorts of tickets are coming in from all different channels. On there, we have our AI working on top of it. So it is like an agent who is already there on Freshdesk, reviewing those tickets, going back and sending out and finding an answer to it. So those tickets goes back to an EGAR. That's our own Elevon generative AI system we have built. We have all the vector database that we have taken out from the consumer. That's around 5,000 conversations in this account. Then we have email conversations. We have the FAQs for the platform. We have the templates. Using that, whatever comes in, its vectorization is done, a similarity search is done, and then we make sure that prompt engineering is done to make sure the tone is right. So we handled hallucination, we handled RAG, and then we created to an LLM. Now mind you, this was before we came and we saw the XO level. So this was all done by Elevon. This was done by the Gen AI capabilities. This would now create a response, send that back. The agent will review that response. They can actually edit that response, or they can send it across directly. What you have on the left-hand side is the Freshdesk platform. The ticket has been created. On below, I'm not sure if it's readable, but you have the AI responding it. On the right, as you talk to ChatGPT, you can reprompt your OpenAI. You can reprompt the LLM to give a better response. You give a Gen AI feedback down there. And using those feedback, the AI is learning by every single conversation, right? So that's what we built out here. And as we were mentioning, Omnichannel, we have the conversations coming through the email on left. We have on the bot being answered in both these cases. The third one is where the bot identified that I need to intervene an agent here. And that's why it said I created a ticket on Freshdesk and moved it up.
Can you go back to that?
Yeah.
I just want to point out real quick, sorry, the next slide.
Yeah.
Just want to point out real quick here that we keep a human in the loop, essentially, and that was requested by the client. So essentially, you know, the Gen AI response is there. You can utilize that. But as you can see on the right-hand side, you can make any modifications. It's highlighted in bold, and change that answer as needed.
But what was in need was a tier 1 was messing up, right? The efficiency was in early 60s. But what we have now is more than 96% efficiency in answering those responses, and the client has confidence on this AI solution that going forward in production, they're planning to completely have AI as a tier 1 solution. So that is what we have built for the future of the client.
Yeah, so we had over 110 FAQs trained, 5,000 plus previous conversations, 96 accuracy on Gen AI responses, and 99 on FAQs, 99%. And yeah, like Montage just mentioned, they're hoping to transfer and transition all tier 1 tickets to Gen AI only.
So that is what we meant by omnichannel: email, chat, voice, inflow, outflow. We have done all. So if you have problems, we have solutions.
Thank you all. So on this last slide here, we just have a QR code to scan if you want to reach out to us. You can also reach out to me by email, rithvik@elevondata.com. Visit our website. Thank you all.
If any questions, you can take it out. Yes. Thank you guys.